James Lynch here for MMA News with Cory Sandhagen, who's got another big fight. He's going to be taking on Marlon Moraes at UFC Fight Night on October 10th. Cory, how's it going, man?
I'm good, James. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Good to catch up with you here. Before we get into this fight, some big news. You're now with VaynerMedia. Pretty awesome to be a part of that. Pretty star-studded management group. How did this come together? I know initially you were with Lloyd over at Ballingy Group.
Yeah, so, the guy who I was working with at Ballingy was Lloyd, and when Lloyd decided to leave, I just decided to follow him. And being with Vayner is cool. I got to meet AJ, which was nice, and I'm looking forward to it.
You haven't met Gary yet?
No, I haven't met Gary yet.
Because I was going to say, you got to talk to him about your podcast, right? Maybe get something going there with that, because you were doing that before. Yeah,
I'm actually not doing that podcast anymore, but for the future, yeah, definitely he's going to be a very good connection to help me in if I decide to go down that avenue again.
Okay, what if you don't mind me asking, I don't know if it's personal or not, but how come you stopped doing the podcast?
Just was too much, you know.
Yeah, taking up too much time.
Yeah, a little bit too much time, and then the whole quarantine thing was really tough too, and we kind of didn't really want to do too many interviews that were like this over the internet. We like doing them face to face, so that was hard too, you know.
Blame it on the COVID, as a lot of things are in 2020. We haven't had a chance to talk since your last fight. I know things didn't go your way, but you always learn more from a loss than a win. So what did you take away the most from that fight?
Yeah, you got to be in there's in sports psychology, I think it's called the arousal continuum. It's like where you do your best in a competition setting. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, granted, I have a decent amount of fights, including my amateur kickboxing and amateur MMA fights. Still hard, and sometimes you still need to be reminded where you are on that line. And I was just a little bit way too low on the arousal continuum in order for myself to compete at a high level in such an intense scenario. So just took that away from the fight, and I'm glad that I got to learn from it, and I'm glad that I didn't get hurt in the process of learning, because in this sport, sometimes that always isn't the case. And while it was kind of embarrassing and it did suck and it did make me have a lot of feelings, at least I got something really positive out of it.
Very well said. I think that's a great attitude to have towards a situation like that. And like you said, it's always a learning process, sort of moving forward. And UFC's not giving you any favors here, man. You're taking on Marlon Moraes. Were you surprised to get this fight in a way, just because Moraes was a guy that was linked to Petr Yan, and it seemed like there was even talks of him potentially fighting for the title. And here you are getting a fight for him in what I think most people consider like a number one contenders fight.
Definitely, to me, that seems like a favor. That doesn't seem like the UFC isn't doing me a favor. It seems like they are doing me a favor.
Yeah.
But yeah, really big fight. I was really shocked by them putting this together. Obviously, being that, number one, my last loss or my last fight was against someone that Marlon beat, and now I get to fight him. So, kind of threw me off a little bit. I wasn't really. I didn't think that they were going to put that fight together. I'm really happy that they did. I thought that they were either going to do two things. They were going to do something like this and like give me another really huge opportunity, or kind of just brush me off to the side and give me someone lower in the ranks, which was what I was anticipating. But I'm glad that they did this. It feels like for me, like they're giving me another huge opportunity. They're giving me a main event on Fight Island, and I'm super grateful for it, because it was very unexpected to me.
And, again, like I mentioned, the implications here are very huge in this fight. And it seems like they gave you a lot of notice for this, too. Like, I feel like this was, booked a while ago. When did you actually sign pen to paper? I was trying to even remember this heading into the interview.
I want to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
3 weeks ago. But before that, it was kind of already, you know how it is, man. Like, they talk about it and then they send the contract. You know how it is. But, so I've known about it for, I don't know, maybe like 9 or 10 weeks or so now.
Okay. We know what Marlon's going to do. He's going to try and take your head off. That's what he does to everyone. I mean, he's knocked out a lot of guys in that division. He's also got a pretty good ground game as well, from what we don't see it too often. Is that sort of how you look at this fight? I mean, I think you guys are both very well rounded, but obviously Marlon sort of having the edge in power.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely going to have an edge in power. I'll have my edge in the things that I'll have my edge in. And I've always, really held Marlon in really high regard in the division and in the sport just in general. I think that he's one of the better guys in the UFC, not only in the bantamweight division, and the bantamweight division is really stacked right now. So, I mean, I know what I'm in for. I'm not going to go out and expect anything. I'm not going to expect it to be striking or this and that, because that will get you in trouble. But I'm ready for whatever fight me and Marlon have together, and I'm excited for it, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And I think that if I can latch onto this one and really take full advantage of this opportunity, I can really, stake my claim, and it can be a huge kind of game changer for me.
And I imagine Justin Gaethje is helping you for this fight. The only reason I bring that up is because he has the same manager as Marlon. They both fought in World Series of Fighting. I believe they've trained together before. Was that ever brought up at all when you booked this fight?
Nope. No.
I mean, not like it matters. Justin's fighting Khabib, who's also has the same manager as Justin. So, I mean, it was going to happen eventually anyways, right? So.
Yeah. No, that had never come up. No.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. I got it from the first no when you said that. But training camp, I mean, obviously, team's been on a roll. Neil Magny, huge win over Robbie Lawler. You had Shauna Dobson. I don't know why she's such a big underdog in that fight against Agapova, getting a big win. Who are you mainly getting to work with for this camp? Is the usual cast of characters? Yeah,
usual cast of characters. Who am I working with? I've been doing a lot of, I've been trying to find people that are a lot more like Marlon. On our team, we have like a really specific style, or not too specific, I suppose, but we do things a little bit differently than other camps do things. So finding like a perfect partner isn't always ideal. But I mean, I've still been striking with my striking coach, Christian Allen, who, is good at everything and has the best eye that I've ever seen for martial arts. And then my wrestling coach, Carrington Banks, we're doing a lot together now. And yeah, so everything's pretty normal, man. We have a big team, which is also kind of nice. So we get to plug in. I get a bunch of different looks from a bunch of different people, and all is good. All is pretty normal.
And I also saw you were up at 50-50 training with Ryan Hall and Ton Lee and those guys.
Yep. I've been going up there maybe like once every couple months. Ryan Hall is an incredible martial artist, not only in jiu-jitsu. I go out there sometimes anticipating learning a lot in jiu-jitsu, and then I actually add a lot to my striking game too. So, and then Ton Lee is a freak.
Should have been in the UFC. Talk about Contender Series misses. Why did they not bring him in? I never understood that.
Dude, that guy is good, man. And he just has a good mind and a good attitude and everything like that. He has all of those other factors that go into being a good fighter too. So, I mean, that has been incredibly helpful for me too. Just getting a different look with some different guys. And Ryan kind of like keeps his who he trains with kind of small. So I was really happy that he kind of accepted me into his kind of like, it feels like smaller group and stuff. And yeah, so that's going great too.
What was the initial connection there? How did you who do you know over there? How did you end up training there?
Well, I've always been a huge Ryan Hall fan, and then I watched him fight Jake Ellenberger, and I was like, oh wow, like he's doing some really not just flashy jiu-jitsu stuff. Like the stuff that he's doing actually makes a lot of sense. And so I just messaged him on Instagram, and I was like, hey man, like is it cool if I come check out the gym? And he was like, yeah, very accommodating. Let me stay at his house, and I've been there a few times since.
The Ellenberger fight must have been a grappling match, right? Because they're in two different weight classes.
Oh no, not Ellenberger.
I was going to say Jake Ellenberger's a welterweight. Hall's a featherweight. That would be a tough ass there.
Who was the last? It was his last fight.
Oh,
trains at Alpha Male.
Was it Elkins? No, I'm trying to remember.
Elkins. Yep.
Oh,
Darren
okay.
Elkins. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I watched that fight and I was blown away by that.
Okay. How's the weight cut? I imagine that process is going to start soon. I mean, you sort of eat healthy anyways, but fight's coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah. No changes there either, man. Like I said, like I've had plenty of time, so I haven't really had to change too many things. Weight cut is good, and training's good. The weather's nice. Everything's good.
I think this fight can go one of two ways. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's either Marlon finishes you, which I think is very tough to do because you've never been stopped other than the last fight. Or I think if you can use your range and keep Marlon at bay, I think you could potentially win a decision or potentially submit him. Is that kind of how you see the fight going?
I don't really. I'm trying not to pay attention too much to seeing a fight going in a certain way. That's gotten me in trouble in the past.
Okay.
So I try not to do that. I'm going to be ready for however Marlon comes out. Who knows? I'm a very different type of fighter, so he might be fighting very different. And after watching a couple of his fights, he does some similar things, but the way that he fought Cejudo was very different than the way that he fought Aldo. And so I'm keeping an open mind to whatever Marlon is going to bring. And honestly, most of the attention has been just on me fixing the things that I need to fix and taking that kind of John Wooden approach to things where I'm not going to over strategize. I'm just going to kind of focus on the things that I can do better and be great at those things and let the fight play out how it plays out.
We talked about the implications of this fight. It looks like Sterling and Jan's next, although I am getting a little nervous that they haven't booked that yet. I don't know what they're up to in terms of that. But, do you feel like the winner of this fight would get you in that title shot picture just because Marlon ranked very high?
I think it could. I think that you also have three other people that have a pretty solid argument. I think that Frankie has a pretty good argument, having just come off the Munoz fight. I think Aldo, you have a little bit of an argument, having Aldo just kind of be a huge name, and then two, just coming off of I guess I'm more speaking of like maybe my next fight in case it's not just straight to a title. I think that there's definitely three people that I think I could potentially be faced up against. Obviously, Aldo, who just lost for that. So if I want a title shot, I need to fight Aldo. Two is Frankie, who just came off of a big win of Munoz and looked really, really great. And then TJ, who's coming back in January. And I could see them doing a championship fight for any of those three, or giving me one of those three next and then a title shot after that.
Yeah, very well said. I agree with you there. I think it's it's the hottest division right now in MMA. I mean, without a doubt. Even in Bellator, they had a great title fight last week between Archuleta and Patchy Mix. Not sure if you caught that or not. You did reference the Frankie Edgar fight. I was curious. Did you think Frankie Edgar won? I don't know if you watched that fight because some people felt like Pedro deserved the nod in that one.
That one was a coin toss, man. To me, it just depends on how you're going to judge it. Are you going to judge it off of who was more active and who was maybe controlling the fight a little bit more, or are you going to do it based off of damage? Because if you're going to do it based off damage, I think Munoz won. If you're going to do it based off of who I think felt was controlling the fight, I think Frankie, although he was the person moving backwards, he was the one kind of getting the say and like, hey, you get to hit me now or you don't get to hit me now. And I think it just depends how you judge it. And there really isn't like a solid criteria that we have. It's really ambiguous, and that makes for confusion. But I don't know. You just got to, like what everyone's going to have a different opinion about that. Is it damage or control or outpointing? Everyone's going to have a different opinion about that.
Cory, always appreciate the time, man. Looking forward to this fight coming up here October 10th. It is UFC Fight Night. Anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Nope, that's it. Thanks a lot for having me on, James, and I'll talk to you later.